Celtics Talk podcast is presented by 24autogroup.com. New England gets more at 24.
What's up, everybody?
How we doing?
What's up, Giles?
How you doing?
Yeah, I've been better. So, Celtics fall to the Minnesota Timberwolves, 119-115. A spirited rally. Falls a little bit short. And Anthony Edwards makes all the plays at the finish line. Celtics felt like they were in control of this one for a little bit, a 12-0 run in the fourth quarter. And what happened?
The first half. It was a tale of two halves, Chris Forsberg. That's my headline.
You're already going to your headline.
Heck yeah. It was a tale of two halves. First half, offense was good. The ball movement was good. Everything was flowing. You just felt encouraged by what you were seeing in the first 24 minutes. They built a 10-point lead. Jaylen Brown, 27 points. Nimi Keita, double-double at halftime. You're getting contributions. Sam Hauser had a great start to this game in the first half. Then the second half happens. I feel like the tempo slowed down.
It was brutal.
They stopped attacking and started missing open shots. And then there was that sequence at the beginning of the fourth quarter where they just couldn't do anything offensively. And needed then the 12-0 run just to tie the game again. So it was just a tale of two halves.
I kept thinking, boy, that first 5 minutes of the fourth quarter is going to be interesting. No JB after they had some offensive struggles in that third quarter. And I said, you're going to need someone to hit shots, someone to give him a spark. Remember, I wrote it down, but I was just like, oof, this lineup, it's hard to generate offense when you don't have your key guys out there. And it bore out. They did not. A couple things here to unpack. For all you young journalists out there, you can never lead your story with a tale of two halves. It is the most hackneyed, and I don't mean to do
you want to start the podcast over?
It's so when I was at the Boston Globe as a young pup, there was a couple rules, and that it was funny because everyone would come back from their Friday night football game and go, "It was a tale of two halves." And the editor would go, not everyone can write "It's a tale of two halves" as the lead to their story.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying you're wrong, Giles. You're absolutely correct. There's also rules like
Celtics good first half, bad second half.
I like it.
Is that better?
It works for me. Also, when we would cover Thanksgiving football, we couldn't say like the defense gobbled up the offense.
I get it.
Yeah, which was kind of a bummer because you know how bad I like cheesy puns. And so, really, just kind of took away all of my crutches.
That's too bad. Well, we're talking this one out loud. And for those that are listening to the podcast and want to know, like, what happened, as I just explained, they were
right.
good. They were real good in the first half. They were not good in the second half.
That probably came off meaner than it should have.
That's okay. It's all right. Just don't understand if this is
It made the young writer in me. It made, because I just remember how many times I got yelled at. It's like
you were basically like, look, your headline or whatever you led with there was cheesy and lazy.
No.
That's okay. You're right. I will do better. I will do better.
No, I feel guilt. I'm
like Minnesota. I'm coming out of the gate slow.
You're the nicest human being, and I just poo-pooed your great headline. But you're not wrong. I don't understand, and this plays into. I mean, I'm going to go right to my headline then. We're still hunting for a little consistencies because this team from half to half, I have no idea what we're going to get. You get, and maybe you know what? We just talked through this. All I did was use a reworded version of your headline. Who's the hack now? That's me.
But why? Why?
I have no idea. I honestly, I do think they fall into some old habits in terms of when the offense isn't flowing, they tend to, well, let's put it this way. When Minnesota was making baskets in the first half, I thought they were still quick to take it out, move it up the court, get a good look, and you were okay to trade punches. And then it sort of settled in, and when you did sort of start playing good defense, that's when they all of a sudden started getting a lead. The lead goes up to 10 at the half, and you're thinking, okay, this is Celtics basketball. They're making shots. They're finally starting to lock in a little bit. And they just got away from it completely. They limped into actions. They didn't take advantage of what Minnesota was offering on the other end. And then you start missing shots, and it just felt like all of a sudden these guys start maybe questioning themselves a little bit. And I don't know. I don't know why that happens with this team so frequently. I'm sure it happens with every team. It's just when you watch a team every day, you're just like, you notice their traits a little bit more than maybe other. You just assume this doesn't happen everywhere else.
I think it was more noticeable tonight because of just how good they looked.
Yeah.
Just how good the ball movement looked. He had that one play where Sam Hauser's in the corner, falling out of bounds, trying to catch a pass, and
the Jalen left hand.
Yeah, off balance.
Unbelievable.
Able to hit. Hauser hits the three, and you're like, okay, you're getting. And every single shot he took, it seemed like in that first half, or at least he had 3 threes that were just all net, and it was just okay. This is what it can be if you're getting contributions from your bench and from Sam Hauser, and you're knocking down shots. I mean, the 3-point, Scal boiled it down to the 3-point attempt, or the 3-point make being the difference against Detroit the other night.
Yeah.
In some regards, it kind of felt like some of the reason they were up 10 at the half in this one. And there's probably something to that, because in the second half, it was Minnesota who was lighting it up from 3 and certainly had, was plus 15 points from behind the 3-point line by the end of the day. Which
never happens against the Celtics. Like,
it didn't used to.
Didn't used to, that's for sure. It's jarring because, and we'll put it this way, I can just tip my cap to Minnesota at the end of the game. Anthony Edwards throws in just a ridiculous shot. Like, he literally looks like he's about to fumble it away. I think I screamed at you. I said, you got to just make sure you get the rebound. Cato was up high, like defending a pick and roll, and I was worried about a long rebound or a kick out. And what happens? Anthony Edwards doesn't even hit the rim. It just swishes in on an absolute prayer. And sometimes you're just like, maybe it's just not your night.
Yeah.
Because Anthony Edwards had a bunch of good looks at the end of games last season and didn't make it. And we had the whole, as everyone's litigating Jason Tatum's clutchness at the end of games, I was like, well, look, it doesn't always go great for the other guys too. But man, tonight it was just, once they gave Anthony Edwards some confidence, which he does not lack to begin with, it felt like it was really off to the races for him. And I think that's part of why the second half got away. It's just, when he needed to bully his way to the basket and get a bucket, like, as you're scuffling, it's tough to watch him just get some momentum, and just could not hose him off from that point.
He had 14 points in the fourth quarter. 14 in the fourth quarter.
What do you know what he had in the third? It wasn't.
I think he had 24. I think he had 10 in the third. I think he had 24 in the second.
2 double-digit scoring quarters in the second half is pretty good for the way he, and especially when everybody else around him was likewise flowing. So I don't know. I hate to go back to it. There are nights where I just feel like you need some sort of energy, a sort of jolt, and Minot gave you a little bit of that. But the bench was just so poor in their second half minutes. Anthony Simons could not get going at that point. Did not love his minutes tonight.
He was a part of that group that, to start the fourth quarter, just couldn't generate even a look.
And I don't mean to pin it on him, but he is sort of the one guy where if things are going badly, you kind of need him either to be super aggressive and at least generate good looks, or try to use his ability to knock. Like, you just got to get him in catch and shoot actions or something. And it just felt like they just weren't maximizing that unit that was out there. Invariably in this moment, I'll say, could you have used some Ugo minutes? Like, I just think there are parts where you're kind of limping through if you could just get some energy. Now, I thought Shireman gave him that a little bit in the first half. Came in, knocked down a 3. He took that charge. Like, it was a really good sequence. And I think Baylor's done a good job with his minutes. I just think the other night, I thought Joe threw all the right darts in helping you find a way to get through that Detroit game. And tonight, I don't think it's on Joe. I think the personnel was bad overall, and I just wonder if there's a dart he could have thrown. And if I'm saying the 19-year-old rookie could have spared you from this, like, it's probably grasping, but it's where my mind goes.
Well, I mean, but I think we do wonder game to game about Ugo Gonzalez's usage. There was one game where he was in the starting lineup. I can't remember. Was that game 3 of the regular season? Was that in Detroit? Yeah,
that's right.
So we've seen him play that role, and we've seen him get some decent minutes, but as of late, we haven't seen him in there as much, and part of that maybe is the fact that Baylor Shireman's giving you better minutes. Jordan Walsh has been better.
I don't know. I was telling you, Kayla went on a little rant.
Yeah, I heard.
She came in the postgame plus hot and said she needs more from Jordan Walsh. And as I said, I stopped and I did the Michael Hawley hot take fan. And then I said, I understand. Like, I think in general, we hold this team to a high standard. So if we come in night after night and say how good Jordan Walsh has been, and he has been fantastic, it's okay to be like, he had a bad night. I did not think he got a tough assignment out of the gates trying to defend Anthony Edwards. I'm not sure there's anything that anybody on that team could have done to slow him down in the second half.
I could be wrong, but I don't think he had a field goal attempt after his first run in the first quarter. He was 0 for 2.
Yeah.
And I remember him taking 2 early threes. And that was it.
And that sometimes happens with a guy like that who's just, if you don't hit one of your first threes, you maybe become a little bit more reluctant. And if Peyton's struggling to generate knockdown looks, and if Derek White's just not his usual self, then you need someone to sort of grab it. I think part of the frustration is you wasted just a spectacular effort from Jaylen Brown. And Keita coming back, where I did not expect a lot, on one ankle, and goes for nearly a 20-20 game.
19 and 18. I think the question, because rebounding has been such a theme for this team before the season started, maybe that's what was most frustrating about the first half. I'm figuring that out now. The number of second chance points, the number of offensive rebounds they got, it was like they're the team with energy. They're the team that's getting all these second, third opportunities. They ride that because if you remember the first quarter, like Minnesota was in control for much of the first quarter. Celtics won a little run at the end of it, took a 4-point lead into the second quarter. But it was the second, like it's just all of a sudden it felt like they were beating Minnesota at the game that's usually used against them.
I'm with you.
And
I mean, you think about it.
And most of that was Keita, though. He had 6
100%.
points and 7 rebounds in like the first 6 minutes.
If I had told you that a team was going to come in tonight and win the rebounding battle by 6, that they were going to generate 9 more offensive rebounds than their opponent, that they were going to generate 7 extra second chance points than their opponent, I would have been like, okay, did the Celtics survive that from the Timberwolves?
Right.
And the opposite. Celtics generate 96 shots. I mean, like all the margins that Joe loves, they're going to look at this box score and be like, what? How did this get away?
Where, I guess, then, should we look at it? And Minnesota makes 21 threes. Celtics make 16 threes, okay?
Maybe it is.
Celtics beat them in the second chance points and the rebounds and points in the paint, all that stuff. But Minnesota wins the 3-point battle.
We got Celtic'd.
A little bit, you know? They kind of flipped the script a little bit.
Man, it hurts when you're on the other side of it. And yet, I think one of the other reasons, and again, this plays into the consistency thing, so even though they've laboring through a terrible second half, they make that 12-0 run. Like, everything seems to be flowing. And all of a sudden, it just kind of grinds. And you leave Mike Conley alone in the corner for 1 second, which you're overreacting to Anthony Edwards in that moment. Mike Conley knocks down a big 3 from a spot that he's very good from. Then Anthony Edwards throws in the circus shot, and all of a sudden, like, the game slips away from you. I think it's frustrating that the Celtics, you spend so much energy coming back, and then they just don't have enough to get to the finish line. And it was very reminiscent of their only other loss in the stretch, which was Brooklyn, where, unexcusable night where they just didn't have the right energy, but they still made a fourth quarter charge, and you're like, okay, they're going to find a way to win this game. And then it just fizzles out. They just got to find, and for me, it comes down to, like, how do you find just a little bit more consistency? And we knew this was going to be an issue. Like, it's not something that, coming into a year where you don't have Jason Tatum, where you have the losses that you have, that you're still trying to figure out personnel. It was fair to say it was going to be a little bit up, a little bit down. It is no surprise that the Boston Celtics are 10-9 overall because of the way they have played. I just wonder, is it as simple as, like, if Derek White makes shots, there's more consistency for this team? Oversimplifying?
Some respects, yes. But Peyton Pritchard, going 1 of 8 from 3 and 4 of 14 from the field. It's you need a consistent game from both Peyton Pritchard and Derek White, I think.
Fair.
And
I would throw Sam in there. Like, Sam had a great first half, but second half just had a lot of open looks.
But if he gets you 14 points, you're probably going to be okay.
Fair.
You know what I mean? It's just, I don't know.
I'm so close to breaking out blame pie right now. we're going straight BST. No. Again, if things fester on this 5 and 7, if this is a repeated occurrence, then I'd be frustrated. But because it felt like there was some progress here lately, where whether it's individual guys finding their way or just the Celtics being a little bit more consistent, tonight felt like a little bit of a step back. Having a vehicle you can rely on, that's important. That's why you can rely on 24 Auto Group. They will treat you like family. And that's because they are family owned and operated. They're honest, easy to work with, and they just get it. Whether you're looking for something sporty, something luxurious, or just a solid everyday ride, 24 Auto Group always comes through. With 9 brands and 11 locations across New England, there's something for everyone. And here's the best part. They've got the knack to save you more on a new or pre-owned vehicle, and the knack to pay you more for your trade, up to $2,400 over book value. You can even drive home with just $24 down. So if you want the best deal without the runaround, go see my guys at 24 Auto Group, because you always get more at 24. Online at 24autogroup.com. Joe Mazzulla did get worked up about one particular thing in this game. Here's his. This is appropriate if you're listening on Sunday morning.
Are you guys not being benefiting from your physicality? Like, you're not getting to the free throw line. It can't just be that you're finesse team. This seems like you're not.
Yeah, I mean, I thought we did a decent job of not selling. I thought we drove the ball. I mean, I thought it was 1st and 10, and I thought one of their guys had a great tackle on Derek there on the sideline for a tackle for a loss, and that was really good by them. So, our offensive line's got to do a better job of just winning in the trenches and just not letting them get to the second layer of that, and just got to keep getting there.
How can the Celtics bolster their offensive line?
How can they bolster their offensive line? I mean, go out there and find some big bodies and
should Amari Williams have been on the floor to add some size at the left tackle position?
Yeah, no, I don't know. I don't know if he's.
Did you think it was that egregious?
The officiating?
I mean, just
I thought watching the game in the second half, I thought to myself, this is a really physical game, and they are letting them play. Both sides, they are letting them play. Like, there was the one where Jaylen Brown got the bucket and the foul, drew the foul, and I was like, that's like the first foul we've seen in a long time. And then obviously Anthony Edwards got to the line quite a bit towards the end there, but I didn't think that was the difference in the game. It is kind of crazy to me sometimes when you think about just how physical it is. Guys are crashing into each other, and for this game, they're kind of like, that's fine.
Yeah.
But when you brush by a three-point shooter, if you touch him at all, then like that's an automatic you have to call it type of thing. It's just same sport. Yeah.
Ironically, it goes back to consistency, right? You just want from the officials, you want a little bit of consistency. I want to know that you can brush a shooter and it's not going to be called a foul. Or there was
one, like that. Doesn't that feel like the rules dictate that that's automatic?
There was one super late call on Derek in the first half, I think, where I was like, "Whoa, what?" Like, and I think he did hit him, but like I don't think the refs had an overall impact on the outcome of this game. Now, Joe got worked up because Derek White got sort of tumbled to the floor off was it DiVincenzo?
It was Dante DiVincenzo
who sideswiped him, and it led to a jump ball. In that situation, yeah, like as the Celtics are trying to kind of finally rally back a little bit, it was a tough spot. But I didn't in the moment. I never sat there and was like, oh man, that was like the Jaylen Brown trip or anything like that, where against Utah, where they had a real impact on the outcome. I do love that Joe does his best. He usually can't be baited into talking about the officials. And he found a way to frame it where he might just be tiptoeing to go with it, continue his analogy. He might be tiptoeing the end line just enough on that touchdown reception to avoid the league being assessing any unsportsmanlike conduct penalties.
Well, they also missed too many extra points. If you want to keep going at it at the free throw line, look, if they're not going to call, if you're going to constantly get beat in free throws, got to make the ones that you get.
The Derek White grimace when he missed the third free throw was,
and that would have made it a 2-point game if he makes that one. But overall, they were 9-15.
I mean, man, I didn't know it was that bad. So that's one of the margins that they did not. You can survive if you make your freebies, but man, you can't leave points out there.
And I'm not saying that that's the difference, but this is not a team that can really give up the opportunity.
And again, this is a team that one of their weaknesses does seem to be untimely free throw misses. So just got to be better overall. But maybe the best part is there is a game in less than 24 hours. I'm looking at the clock. I'm like, we're going to be right back in this room. What is your expectation, just real quick, about what happens tomorrow night against Cleveland?
So I think it all starts with, who do we expect to be playing?
And I wish I could give you a firm answer, but I'll just say this. My antenna went up when they put out the injury report yesterday. Jaylen goes was listed as questionable, and I was like, there's no way he's missing this game. 2 days break, playing against Anthony Edwards. But I think that is often a sign of 5 games and 7 nights, second night of a back-to-back, a weird Cleveland situation where like they've lost 2 in a row. They're going to be pretty motivated.
And they're back to full strength, right? Darius Garland's back.
Yeah, and they lost to Atlanta the other night in a cup game. That ended their cup hopes, and it just feels like they've lost 3 of 5. They need to kind of shake it up a little bit. And hey, Celtics just lost one. Maybe they're more apt to go for it. I wonder if they won tonight, if it makes it easier to say, all right, let's downshift. You get everybody back up full strength for the Knicks on Tuesday. You figure it out like with rest and how you want to play it against Washington, and then a rivalry game against the Lakers. But this 5 and 7, I think we know that I can't imagine like everyone's going to play through this stretch. And so if you're trying to pick a spot, it's easy to say, oh, just wait till Washington and make that the downshift game. I think you might have to just bite the bullet. And this is now, as you pointed out, 20 games it took. Is this the time that Jaylen Brown finally takes a night off?
It's and because we haven't seen that yet. We have seen it in chunks of games where Jaylen Brown's in foul trouble, specifically that Brooklyn game where he picked up the 5th foul midway through the third quarter. So we've seen it for chunks in games. What does that look like if you do have to go into an entire night without a guy who should certainly be an honorable mention if you're making a list of 15 candidates for the MVP?
If that poor writer, I'm glad you didn't name him because I think he's a good person. I don't want to completely
No, but my point is just that he is clearly the most valuable player on this team, and you do wonder what this Celtics team You wonder what this Celtics team looks like through 20 games.
We might find out.
Sitting at 10-9 at the moment. Yeah. If they don't have his services.
If the Celtics had found a way to win this game and Jaylen Brown has a 40-point night, I think I would have come up here and I've been like, let's talk about MVPs. But Anthony Edwards blew that for us. So.
And he's on the other side saying, I got 39 and 14 in the fourth quarter. So we can talk about it. He'll be sitting there saying we should talk about MVPs.
One last thing. Celtics now 0-2 in those jerseys.
They are.
Is it the jersey's fault?
Who was the first loss against? I can't remember now.
Put me in a tough spot. Tough spot right now.
That is a tough spot.
Philly, maybe?
That seems right. I feel like it was that Philly game.
Yeah, I'm probably wrong. But the fact remains, they're 0-2. And sometimes you just got to be better. It doesn't matter the laundry. But it was weird to see a team in green and black on the other side, and then you're wearing gold and white. My messages blew up with people who were not thrilled with those jerseys.
I don't have a problem.
I don't either. I think they're nice jerseys.
Well, I understand, but if someone's tuning in late and they're like, "What's going on?" Yeah. I get that. It's confusing at first.
It took me. I'm not even gonna lie. It took me a minute tonight.
I guess just once I've watched it for a couple of possessions, I'm like, I just forget that who's wearing what.
Yeah. I think the rule should be they can only wear them at home.
Okay.
Because at that point, then the other teams in their normal colors, I think it flows better. Tonight was just weird. It was just like, wait, where are we playing? Whose court is this? Who's the home team?
Minnesota, where there was a blizzard apparently, or there was snow, and saw that on the broadcast too.
Celtics added 2 games to their schedule now that the Cup is over, and one of them is in Milwaukee, so they do 3 trips to Milwaukee this year. And I've never been more jealous of Abby.
You just love Milwaukee.
I love Milwaukee. It's such a good city.
What about Milwaukee in December? You been in Milwaukee in December?
I think I went January of last year. Abby took a game off, and I had to go out there. And I thought I was getting snowed in. We got what you saw in Minnesota that night. It was a blizzard. So I walked to a brewery at 10 a.m. Was just having the best day ever. Convinced that my flight wasn't getting out. There was another lady there. She was just ironically trying to fly home to Minnesota. She said my flight's canceled. She wasn't even going to fly out for 3 more days. I was like, you are so lucky. I was getting ready to what do I got to do to rebook this flight? And Adam Hilmelsbach from the Globe called me and was like, hey, do you see our flight's still on? I was like, what?
And then you're scrambling. Did you make your flight?
I had to go back to the room and pack some stuff up, and we did make the flight. Also hilarious is this might have been I don't know if I should be divulging all of this, but let's put it this way. We got to the airport. I'm like, I can't believe this flight is going on. Got to the gate, sat down, and over the intercom, which is very rare for the deaf kid to hear this, but I hear, paging passenger Forsberg, return to the security to pick up your laptop.
Oh. At least they were nice enough to be like, yo, you left your laptop behind.
I just
I would think if you left your laptop behind in security, they'd be like, maybe that was it. They were like, we need to get a second look at this kid. Who leaves a laptop behind? Like,
there's nothing but Google,
security risk there.
There's nothing but Googled breweries on this thing. What is this? Yeah, that was very kind of them, but I also felt, I was like, oh man, it's been a day. But we got home safe, and it was like a pretty smooth flight, and that's just the proof. Like, when you live in a snowy city, they're getting you out.
Right.
They do a good job in Boston, too, but, like, I'm telling you, I'm like, man, the kids are going to be off for a couple days from school, and then all of a sudden, they're up in the air and back to Boston, back to reality. Just like we're back to reality tomorrow night when the Celtics play the Cavs. Our pregame show starts at 5 o'clock. Come hang out. We'll be back on the Celtics Talk podcast afterward. John, you on the docket for tomorrow?
Kayla will be.
Oh, she's got hot takes. You know what's going to be funny? I'm going to come in here tomorrow. I'm going to go, it's a tale of two nights. We'll catch you tomorrow on the Celtics Talk podcast.
See ya.